Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 38, Beyond the Gates Recap, the best soap opera on television. We had a short week this week because of the holiday. We had Monday and Tuesday episodes. They celebrated Thanksgiving on Tuesday in Fairmount Crest. They had their gathering at the country club. There was a lot of things that went on in the short 2 days, though. Pretty much, we're going to go over the Thanksgiving and how things went with that. It was a pretty happy time everywhere. Excuse me. Considering, one of the people that would have made it not a happy time, Kat, went away with Tomas. So we'll talk about all that. Danny and Andre spent the Thanksgiving together at their house, with Danny attempting to cook and Andre attempting to do the dishes with that appliance, the dishwasher, that he didn't know that actually does dishes. And they, of course, this show is a Procter & Gamble show, and you can't blame them for using this to promote their dishwashing soap, Cascade. So Danny, mentioned that, she doesn't do dishes. She has Cascade for that. And you can't blame Procter & Gamble for promoting their products. I think it's smart. I know they didn't do it in the old days, but why not? If you can work it into the show, why not? So they were attempting to cook dinner. Danny was cooking a turkey and some other things. And then all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off and the stove is on fire. And Andre pulls it open. Danny gives him the fire extinguisher. She opens the back doors so the smoke will go out. And that's the last we see. Andre is using the fire extinguisher on the stove, and Danny is screaming by the doors. So it was, while a fire on Thanksgiving in a stove can be a serious thing, the writers of Beyond the Gates made it into a comical thing with, Danny and Andre, and it was good. Vanessa and Joey celebrated the holiday, Thanksgiving. Her kids, I guess, were at Banneker. They didn't come home, she said. But Joey and Vanessa celebrated together at Uptown. He knows the owner, and he let Joey use it to entertain Vanessa since Uptown was closed on the holiday. That was, he let him use it. Well, he probably threatened him. Joey probably threatened him and said, I know this about you. You don't want it to come out, so I want to use Uptown. And so that's probably how that went down. Ted, Eva, and Leslie at Thanksgiving dinner at Orphe Jeans, and that was good. Of course, Leslie's going to think that this means that Ted wants to marry her or something, where he didn't. He just wanted to have Thanksgiving dinner with his daughter for the first time in her life. And Eva didn't want to not have Thanksgiving dinner with her mom. So, they had dinner together, and that's just how it was. But of course, Leslie will think it's much more than that. And then Ashley, she had dinner with her mom and Mona at Ashley's apartment. She's not She's not with Derek anymore. She recently busted up with him when she found out he could walk when he was still acting like he was completely paralyzed. Even though he can't walk fully yet. He never told her about the progress, so of course she thought he was lying. He was warned about it several times by, several times by, what do you call it? By several different people, Shanice and Jacob. Several times they told him, you better tell her. And he thought that she was only with him because he was hurt. And you know what? I think that is the only reason. Because she didn't hesitate to break up with him. And she admitted later she still had feelings for Andre. And Andre told her to forget it. Kicked her to the curb. Kicked her right to the curb. So that was good. But so Ashley, her mom Jan and Mona, they had dinner at her apartment. Martin, Smitty, Terrell, and Samantha and June had Thanksgiving dinner at the Brownstone. Samantha made the seating arrangements, and she sat June between her and Terrell. Terrell said that he is thankful for his new girlfriend, and June cries as she says, yeah, it's one of those moments in the show that you've got to know these people, over these 11 months. And she cries because she says how grateful she is that she's back in the kids' lives. And it was a good moment. And it makes you happy that Martin and Smitty are letting her be in their lives. So, but there's going to be some drama coming up because Terrell wants to go to UCLA now, where his girlfriend is headed for college. And Martin wants him to go to Banneker. Smitty, I'm sure Smitty wants him to go to Banneker, but, Smitty's less controlling than Martin. Martin's very controlling. And I think that's the Dupree in him. They're a pretty controlling family. I mean, they just are, I think more Anita than Vernon, but I could be wrong. But I think from what we've seen over 9 months, Anita's the more controlling one. But I mean, they care about their family. So what do we have? We have then the final scene of the show for the week was the Duprees. Martin or Vernon, Anita, Nicole, Naomi, Jacob, and Isaiah, Jacob's brother Isaiah. He decided to join them when Jacob invited him, which I thought was very good. They celebrated Thanksgiving at the club. It did drive Haley nuts that Martin kept looking, or not Martin, that Bill kept looking over at them. She was annoyed by it, which I don't understand why she's annoyed. She's trying to kill the guy. She's trying to kill the guy. So why does she give a shit? And then when they get ready to leave and they're leaving, I think Bill went to get the car maybe. And, Haley's blatantly flirting with Isaiah. It's ridiculous. But, they mentioned that Kat went away with Tomas, which was a good thing because we didn't need the friction, the friction that Kat brings to every situation, because Kat is perfect and no one should have their way except Kat. So it was good to see her out of the picture for Thanksgiving. They could keep her out of the picture for every holiday as far as I'm concerned. And then Chelsea was with Madison and Madison's mom. They were celebrating at Madison's mom's house. It was a vegan Christmas. It was funny because the Duprees kind of mocked that, but that was okay. I'm not into that vegan stuff either, but hey, as I like to say, that's healthy. Keep me away from that. But, Vernon gives the Thanksgiving toast at the end and, saying what he's thankful for. And I thought about it at the end of the show, and I'm thankful for CBS putting this show on TV. I'm thankful for Beyond the Gates. I'm thankful for the 1 hour getaway every day from 2 to 3 when I watch Beyond the Gates and the Duprees and watch what's going on in Fairmount Crest. So I hope that there's many more Dupree Thanksgiving toasts in the future. And I hope that it's on long enough to when my 2 granddaughters are old enough, I can, say, hey, you want to watch this with Papa? That would be fun. But I think that, it was a really good holiday show. I think the writers do a really good job with this kind of stuff on there. Christmas will be interesting too. I'm very excited to see how Winterfest is going to be, coming up in a couple weeks. Well, I guess it's a couple weeks. I don't know exactly. Seems like they've been planning it for months now, but it seems like it's a big event. So it does take months of planning. I hope it's like, other soap operas where something happens at Winterfest, or maybe 1 or 2 things exciting happen at Winterfest that could affect the show for several months to come. I think you have to take advantage of events like that. When you have an event like that, you just can't have the event. You have to have things happen. I wouldn't be against somebody getting murdered. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, the holiday season and everything, but I wouldn't be against somebody getting murdered at the Winterfest, because that brings great storylines. Murder always brings excitement on soap operas. Let's face it, soap opera cities are the most crime-ridden cities in the world. They really are. It's because they're so supposedly small cities, and they have, murders. So, I'm hoping that, somebody gets murdered at Winterfest. I think it would be good. And there's many candidates that could get murdered at Winterfest. Let's be honest. I think that Bill could drop dead at Winterfest, or Bill could, end up having a heart attack at Winterfest because Haley's, of course, trying to kill him by poisoning him. But anything could happen. I could see someone shooting Cat. I could see something happening to Leslie or Ava. And then if something happened to Eva, definitely Cat would be the main suspect. So, I'm excited to see Winterfest, and I think the whole Vernon thing with Sharon is they're planning something for Winterfest with the Articulates. I don't think Vernon's having an affair with Sharon. He better not be having an affair with Sharon. I mean, that would just destroy everything. That would destroy everything, because you can't break up Anita and Vernon. Come on. They're the main people on the show. They're the foundation of everything that show is. So I don't think Vernon's having an affair. They're making it like he is, but he's not. It's just they're planning something for Winterfest, I think, for the Articulates to show up at Winterfest. But I think that's going to be it for today. We have a short show. Because, let's face it, it was a short week for Fairmount Crest. We only saw 2 days. Well, at least we saw 2 days. Unlike other holiday weeks where they didn't have anything, which made no sense. So at least we got 2 days of our guys, our people in Fairmount Crest. So next week we should have a full week, I hope. And next Friday at 3:00, we'll be back here. And next Friday at 3:00 is when we'll go into the soap opera vault and we will do a look back at Santa Barbara, which, as I've said, many people who work on Beyond the Gates also worked on Santa Barbara. And you can see it in some of the comedy that happens on Beyond the Gates. Very similar to what used to go on Santa Barbara. One of my favorite lines ever from Santa Barbara. I told this to my son when he was just young enough to know what I was talking about. There was a character, Kurt Cranston. He was a bad guy. He wreaked havoc all the time, murdered some people. He was a bad guy, but he was humorous. Like, there was humor. You would watch, you would laugh. Some of the crap he'd do. So he murdered somebody, and he murdered somebody, and he was dressed up like a clown. And he's waiting in the airport, and some weird lady walks by and says something crazy. And he looks over at another lady that's sitting there. He's dressed in a clown outfit, full outfit, paint and everything. And he looks at her and he says, takes all kinds. Like he was normal, sitting in the airport in a clown costume. One of the greatest lines, I think one of the greatest lines in the history of daytime television for the circumstance. I mean, there's a lot of great lines out there. But we'll talk about Santa Barbara, which, was my favorite soap opera of all time until Beyond the Gates came on. And now I just really love this show a lot. So we will be back next week at 3:00. And who knows? Until then, maybe I'll see you somewhere around Fairmount Crest.